up in the mountains, my friends, where you can still watch an eagle soar on the wind. And I walk those hills with a smile on my face, and I can't get back to God's saving grace in the mountains.
Welcome back to our Hill to Die On podcast. I am your host for the 52nd episode of our Hill to Die On. Chase Dowling, of course. And this is what's going on in Forest Hill for the week of March 18th through the 25th, 4th, something like that, 2026. I hope everybody has had a great year since we've been doing this podcast. You know, I just don't really know if we're going to give this away finally to somebody tonight. Yep, we're going to give that. Nice little ball cap, you know, with a little leather patch there, a little custom work. Yeah, gonna do that tonight. And have to stay tuned to the end of the episode. Kind of sucks for you, doesn't it? Ha! Not really. Just because you like the show. Especially if you're watching this all the way through this part. So, just saying, you know, this last year has been, you know, there's been some ups, there's been some downs, there's been some lefts, there's been some rights. Arriba, afuera. Wait, no, what is it? I don't know. Something in Spanish. Yeah. Anyway, getting right into it. And without further ado, here is this week's Banana Belt Weather Report. Thanks, Hannah. Well, folks, Hannah sends us another good one here, and this is what she has to say. She says, you know, this week is going to be disrespectfully hot for March in Forest Hill. You should absolutely get outside and touch some grass, but that grass might be feeling a little bit drier than usual. We're talking low to mid 80s with full sun for today and tomorrow. She's talking about Wednesday and Thursday here. This is not normal spring weather. Of course it's not. Make sure your teenagers are wearing deodorant, because if they're not, you're going to have massive regrets. And trust me, I have 2 teenagers and they stink to high heaven already. They take 2 showers a day. You know, what are you going to do? Anyway, and coming from a super pale chick, not me, of course, sun protection is highly advised, because she is whiter than Casper. Let me tell you guys, anybody knows little Hannah Banana. Then Friday is the peak of the heat day. Expect around 86 degrees, sunny and dry. This will likely be the hottest day of the week. You might feel the urge to hit the pool or the lake, but this is not the time of year to jump in the river. Our snowpack is melting quickly, and with these hot temperatures, which means rivers will rise fast. Water will be moving quickly, levels will be higher than usual, and it will be extremely cold. Extremely cold. I mean, take it like, you know, turn it into a doorstop cold. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. In more ways than one. Don't assume you're tougher than the current. Stay out, stay alive. That's what they say. That's a flashing billboard down there at the confluence. I'll tell you. Yeah. Pollen alert. Tree pollen is expected to jump to aggressive levels during these hot days. Warm temperatures mean trees are releasing pollen like crazy. If your allergies are already acting up, buckle up, buttercups. For the weekend, we will be cooling down slightly, but it will still be warm. Expect upper 70s on Saturday and mid 70s on Sunday. With more clouds move in on Saturday, but overall conditions should remain pleasant. Monday and Tuesday, temperatures settle back into the low to mid 70s, and things begin to look more like spring again instead of this damn hot summer. So, and that is this week's Banana Belt Weather Report. All right, folks, getting right into our week here on Wednesday, March 18th. Birthdays, we have Andrew Ramsey and Jason Cottenheim Spoon, the mechanic himself, small engine repair extraordinaire. got birthday on Wednesday. Then we're going to have the American Legion monthly dinner at the Veterans Memorial Hall at 6 p.m. So be there. Tickets start selling at 5, and it's $10 a dinner. So then, on the menu, it's KFC bowls with popcorn, chicken, mashed potato, and corn and gravy, mac and cheese, biscuits, salad, dessert, the whole works. Get there to see that on Wednesday. Also, don't forget about your bingo. 35. I don't know the I's. Don't know the I's, folks. I don't know any B's. I got the B's. That's it. That's all I got. Anyways, Thursday, moving right in. On Thursday, Forest Hill Farms and Bakery has their special is continuing because they're doing corned beef all week. Any kind of corned beef deal. They have corned beef hash and eggs, and their lunch special is chicken pesto sandwiches on Thursday. So, and then I think Friday they got some. I don't know, maybe they have a clam chowder bowl on Friday. Anyway, so that's Thursday, and don't forget about your karaoke at the Mountain Club, folks. Mountain Club's got karaoke. Tighten up them vocal cords. Go out there and sing you a little tune. Have a little fun. You know, get off your ass. It's been a year. A year, folks. A year. Check that out. Look at that. Been a year. And one of you lucky folks is going to get this bad boy tonight. Just letting you know. And, you know, been doing this for a year. The thing, this is about we get to about like 20-minute episodes now. When we first started, it was 10, 15 minutes. Now we're up to 20, 25, sometimes 30. It's a little wild, getting a little wild. But if we hit, every time we hit if we hit 50 subscribers, we're going to do another hat giveaway. We're going to do another custom patch, another hat giveaway if we hit 50 subscribers. So like, share, subscribe on YouTube. Oh, I need 50 subscribers on YouTube, another hat giveaway. Thank you, Levi's Custom Engraving, or Engravings by Levi, whatever it is, for donating the hat. Levi, what a good friend. Donating the hat. Love that guy. Anyway, moving on. Friday, March 20th, birthday, Michelle Dawn Russ, R-U-H-S. It's a friend of the show, you know? Gotta say, happy birthday to you. Don't know how to pronounce your last name. It's gotta just be R-U-H-S. Ruz, something like that. Anyway, just saying. Also, Science Camp Bake Sale from 3 to 7 p.m. at Wharton's. So yeah, don't forget to get down there and donate to that. And Forest Hill Farms and Bakery has clam chowder. Red Bowl lunch and barbecue tri-tip dinner as always. Great tri-tip. Is that the red or the white? Oh, I can never remember this. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, and that brings us to this week's outdoor report. Well, folks, this week's outdoor report, you know, I gave Hannah one job, the banana belt. Robbie was feeling a little under the weather, old Caballo Gallo himself. And, you know, I said, Hannah, why don't we do the banana belt weather report? She said, you know, I don't know if I can do it. And then, lo and behold, she can do it. You know what else she can do? She really likes this stuff. We're going to have to, you know, probably have her as a guest host one day. You know, comment on that. If you want to see the banana belt come do a guest show spot for this podcast. I want to see it. I know you want to see it. I think it'd be good back and forth. Anyways, she went deep. She's a teacher, see? She believes in research. She does. She believes highly in it. And she went deep. She does seasonal snowpack now. She does the reservoirs. She does everything. So, without further ado, here is our outdoor report for this week. It says, just some seasonal shit, you know. Saturday is the first official day of spring. Because it's the spring equinox, daytime and nighttime hours are almost exactly equal. About 12 hours each. Of course a teacher would know that information. Then, normally the Sierra snowpack keeps building through March and peaks around April 1st. This year, it never really caught up, and now it's melting early instead of building. Not good. At Phillips Station near Echo Summit, the snowpack is measuring at less than half of normal. With this week's unusual heat wave, it's not just low, it's actively shrinking earlier than it should. Meteorologists are calling it a snow eater heat wave. Those 80-degree days might be great for hiking and fishing, but they're not great for California snowpack or the upcoming wildfire season. But if you're doing, if you're part of a Firewise community and doing all your upkeep around your house, wildfires shouldn't scare you so much because you should have your defensible space. Remember that, folks. Come on. As far as our reservoirs go, Sugar Pine looks okay right now, but it is very dependent on what happens next in the season. Early winter storms helped fill up decently, but the Sierra snowpack feeding everything above it is well below normal. With 80-degree heat in March, melting what little snow remains, Sugar Pine could see levels drop earlier than usual later in spring. So she's not wrong about that. She's actually fairly accurate, got to say. Anyway, then French Meadows is in really solid shape right now. However, it sits at about 5,200 feet and depends heavily on deep snowpack. So while it has plenty of water today, the real question is how quickly the remaining snow melts. As a fast melt could mean an earlier runoff. So yeah, it's just gonna, we'll have to see. Had to play this by ear, little ear play. Hellhole historically follows French Meadows, but since they are tied into the same watershed system. So folks, just pay attention to the snowpack. Hopefully we'll get more, a little more weather. We need a little bit higher snow. I know next week, latter part of next week, the weather's looking like it's going to cool back down a bit. So we'll have to play this one by ear and see how she goes. But with that said, the person that's always keeping us up to date on our local reservoirs, here is this week's Where's Andy? Well, folks, Andy had a bit of a roller coaster this week. First, he was out riding his Harley, cruising the roads like a man who clearly enjoys a little wind therapy, when, for a brief, unexpected intermission, Andy found himself in the dang hospital. Now, it wasn't from riding his bike, and before anybody starts worrying, he's fine. Because shortly after that, Andy was right back on his bike again. Of course. Which tells me two things. One, Andy's doing all right. And number two, Andy is absolutely not the kind of guy who lets small setbacks keep him parked for very long. So, if you're wondering where Andy is this week, he's back on the road, of course, on two wheels, doing exactly what Andy does. And that's our Where's Andy for this week. So, folks, maybe if you have Hannah's number, text her, give her a call. Say, hey, you know what? I was thinking that you need to co-host Our Hill to Die On, or you need to just come in and do a segment by yourself. And I think she really enjoys it. She might find herself a new career here. I mean, either that or she missed her calling as a meteorologist. I'm not quite sure. But anyways, folks, that's this week's Outdoor Report. Moving right along. All right, moving right into Saturday. Little League Pancake Breakfast at the Legion Hall at 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Raffle and silent auction. So get over there on Saturday. See that. It's going to be a beautiful day. And then Forest Hill Friends of the Library book sale at the Forest Hill Library from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if you got a kid that's in Little League, take them over there. And then take them over to the library and go buy them a book. And, it's, $5 per bag. I like that. And also Forest Hill Farms and Bakery, paninis, Italian sausage, spaghetti, chili verde, and filet mignon. Filet mignon on Saturday. So get over there and see that. Then Sunday, Forest Hill Farms and Bakery has corned beef hash and breakfast special. And at 4 o'clock, you have the Mountain Club pool tournament. Don't forget to do that. Get over there and see Laura and get your butt kicked. She'll take your money. But go try to see if you can beat her. Just try. Just see. I mean, everybody's got to try something, right? Just saying. Just saying. Let's do that. So, that, folks, will bring us right into this week's Thoughts for the Ship. You know, when you sit down and think about the past year, it's kind of amazing how much we can fit into 12 short months. Up here on the Divide, we had a little bit of everything. We had storms that knocked down trees across roads, weeks where the reservoirs looked like they might never fill up, and then there were a few times it rained so much you started wondering if building an ark might actually be a reasonable side project. Spring rolled around, and the wildflowers showed up like they always do. Summer brought kids playing baseball, people fishing, and just about everyone trying to spend as much of their time outside as possible before the heat set in. And of course, we had the ongoing adventures of Andy. At this point, I'm fairly certain Andy has caught every fish in Sugar Pine at least twice, personally checked on by a pair of bald eagles, and driven down more questionable roads than any GPS would have ever recommended. That's kind of the beauty of life up here. It's not perfect, it's not always easy, but it is real. When a storm rolls through, somebody shows up with a chainsaw. When someone gets stuck, somebody shows up with a truck. And when things get tough, the Divide has a funny way of reminding you that you're not in it alone. That's something you don't always see very much anymore. So as we wrap up another year, here's a thought for the shitter. Life is going to keep throwing surprises your way. Some good, some not so good, and some that make you shake your head and laugh because there's nothing else you can do. But if you've got a place you love, good people around you, and a few good stories to tell by the end of the year, well, you're probably doing just fine. Here's to another year on the hill, and hopefully a few more adventures. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is just something to ponder while you're dropping them off down yonder. My God, folks, can you believe we've been doing this for 52 episodes? 52 episodes. It's wild. Wild to me. And actually, I remember last year, the very first episode was right before the Little League did their fundraiser. I don't know if it was pancake breakfast or not, but I remember going up and seeing everybody up there. I think my wife won raffle prizes, as she always does. So, kind of comes full circle. And then we've added some segments. I mean, we've added, Sasquatch and Thoughts for the Shitter and the Weather Report, Caballo Gallo, and the Hannah Banana Weather Belt. Banana Belt. What am I saying? Anyway, so we've definitely done some things. I hope it just keeps going, I hope we can get up to 50 subscribers, because if we get up to 50 subscribers, we're going to do another hat giveaway. Another one. Just saying. Now, breaking right into Monday. Not a whole lot going on Monday that I can see, but I'll tell you this. Nick's Chicks has fresh eggs available, so get to Corey Nick's. Porch pickup, $6 a dozen, 9 for $18. NicksChicks.com. Get over there and see that. Yes, ma'am. Then Tuesday, hopefully they'll be gladly paying me. There is Randy Garrett, or Pat Garrett, as he's also known, has a birthday on Tuesday. And Alicia Henry has a birthday on Tuesday. Happy birthday to you, friend of the show. Happy, happy birthday from all of us to you. We wish it was our birthday so we could party to all night. 52 episodes. 52. It's wild. It's wild. It's like a Mustang in the desert. It's wild as shit. So, you know what else is wild, folks? Sasquatches. Well, folks, tonight marks episode 52, which means we've officially completed 1 full year of documented Sasquatch activity here on the Divide. Over the past year, we've encountered all kinds of different subspecies of Forest Hill Sasquatch, each with their own behaviors, habitats, and unique survival strategies. There's the timber squatch, usually found deep in the woods, smells faintly of bar oil and sawdust, can identify tree species faster than most people can identify their second cousins. Then you've got the coffee shop squatch. Most active in the early mornings, runs primarily on black coffee and the latest town gossip. If there's news in Forest Hill, they probably heard it first. We've also documented the wild child squatch, often barefoot, usually on 2 wheels, known to be climbing trees and ignoring adult instructions, and somehow survives things that would put most people in traction. Then there's the equipment squatch, yes. If it has wheels, tracks, hydraulics, or a clutch, they've already figured it out. Communication is mostly through engine noise and hand signals. Of course, we can't forget about the hermit squatch. Rarely seen in town, usually spotted somewhere between the river and the ridge, listening to an audiobook while the rest of us are arguing about the nonsense. We've seen the philanthropic squatch, too. Gas money appears, a bike shows up for a kid who's needed one. Someone gets help when they're down and nobody quite knows who did it. And then there's the grumpy old squatch. Looks annoyed, sounds annoyed, complains about everything, but somehow ends up being the first one there when someone needs a hand. Now, after a full year of research and observation, and more than a few sightings, we've come to one scientific conclusion. Forest Hill has a lot of freaking squatches. Why are they so freaking... And the funny thing is, most of them don't even know they're a freaking squatch. So if you've been featured this year, congratulations. You're now officially part of the Forest Hill Sasquatch Field Guide. And if you haven't been one yet, don't worry. We're still watching. After 52 episodes and 1 full year of stories, jokes, sightings, and small town legends, it turns out the real Sasquatch were never hiding in the woods. They've been living right here on the Divide. So, and if you listen close, you might even hear one whistling. And if you're wondering whether you might be a squatch one day, don't worry. Because if you don't know, now you know. Yes, folks, Sasquatches come in all shapes and sizes, different shapes and sizes, and, well, you know, you just never know what's going to happen with them. You never know who the next one's going to be, and you never know where they're going to pop up. So, keep an eye out. Maybe start commenting on a person you think might be a good Sasquatch. I'm running out of ideas. I've said this a few times, and nobody likes to do this. But if you don't maybe, hey, if we can get maybe that's what we'll do. If we can get 20 comments in the Sasquatch, 20 different names of people in the Sasquatch of this episode, 20 different names in the comments, hat giveaway. If we can get up to 50 subscribers, hat giveaway. I'm telling you, folks, we're just giving hats away. It's possible. So let's have a little fun with it. Anyway. A couple more things. Big shout out in the community. I just wanted to go over a couple community things. The Forest Hill Wildflowers girl basketball team had a few big time notables. Amy Saxelby was the league MVP. Can you believe that? From Forest Hill Wildfires. Amy Saxelby, congratulations to you. And Brianna Miller and Maddie Marquez were first team all league. First team all league. Congratulations, you Wildfires girls. You torched them. And that was because their coach, Mr. Patrick Marquez, got Coach of the Year this year. So big shout out to you, Pat, for getting them girls to where they needed to be. And Coach of the Year, congratulations. Our own Wildfires had Patrick Marquez Coach of the Year. Also, Brewmasters Deli is planning weekly live music and looking for local bands. So if you're a local musician, get a hold of Brewmasters over there. I'm sure Kelsey will be happy to hear from you and say, hey, why don't you come on down and play some music? So if you're watching this podcast and you play a little music, get a hold of Kelsey. Because she will let you go play in her lounge for free. Maybe she might even pay you. Who knows? Get a hold of her. Also, Doe Mama was making, that was for St. Patty's Day, which is actually while I'm recording this. But who knows? I mean, Doe Mama might have some good cakes and stuff. So, free for Forest Hill deliveries, which she put for the St. Patty's Day stuff. But, you never know. You never know. Freckles and Sprouts is doing garden consultations, so setup and maintenance available. So get a hold of them because it is about gardening season. I just wiped out my whole backyard so I could put in a nice big garden. We're going to do big garden this year, folks. Big garden. And then Forest Hill Community Garden fundraiser for I think it's the school community garden. Their goal is to raise $400. So if you see them around, donate to that. And there's going to be a spay and neuter clinic at the Auburn Shelter by appointment only on March 25th through the 26th. And upcoming for Easter here in a few weekends, they're going to be doing the Forest Hill Volunteer Firefighters Easter egg hunt at the park. So don't forget about that because that is a fantastic, starts at 1 p.m. Fantastic time. Tons of kids show up. They wrestle each other. They elbow, punch, bite, claw, do all that stuff. And so I told you it was going to be at the end of the episode. End of the episode, we're going to be giving away I'm going to be giving it away, right? So, but guess what? Ain't quite the end of the episode, is it? No, ma'am, it is not. Because we have to do this week's Robert Francis Joke of the Week. And this one goes like this here. It says, a guy dies, goes to heaven. St. Peter says, before we let you in, we have one question. Have you ever done anything brave? The guy thinks for a moment and he says, well, one time I saw a group of bikers harassing a young woman. St. Peter says, well, this is sounding promising. What did you do? The guy says, well, I walked right up to the biggest, meanest biker and I ripped out his nose ring. I said, leave her alone. St. Peter says, wow, when did this happen? And the guy says, well, about 2 minutes before I got here. Anyways, folks, hope you had a good week. Hope you have a good weekend. And I have to say, this hat right here, by unanimous drawing, but I'm so glad that this is the person, because the person that gets this has been sharing, liking, and doing all the stuff. I put it into AI. I said, hey, these are all the shares. These are all the likes. These are the subscribers. Pick the person. And it picked Michelle Henry. You get Our Hill to Die On. I know it wasn't camo, Michelle. I know it's not camo. I think you commented camo. But either way, it's great and it's for you. And so, private message me so we can get this thing going to you. But like I said, if we can hit 50 subscribers, right, we'll do another hat giveaway. Another hat giveaway. If we can get 20 new names on this week's Sasquatch. If we get 20 names, another hat giveaway. Just saying. See if you can get it done. If you can get it done, because if we get 20 new names, that means we're going to get 20 new people looking at this thing, right? Start nominating people, folks, right there. And that is this week's Our Hill to Die On podcast. Hope you had a good week. Hope you have a good weekend. We'll be seeing you on the next one.